Ranbir Kapoor is an Indian actor who is the son of the late Indian actor Rishi Kapoor, who was the son of the late Indian legendary actor Raj Kapoor. Obviously, there's no other way to say this. Ranbir's family has long belonged to the Indian film industry. The entire Kapoor family has had natural acting skills passed down to their next generation as they go on. It's in their bloodline. But what separates Ranbir from the rest of the Kapoor family are the guts to take risks with his roles, scripts and film genres that aren't as mainstream as the other members of his family have always taken. But through these extreme highs and lows of his career, he's come out on the other side as one of the best actors of our time. And I'm here to tell you why. If you watch the more popular films of Ranbir, there's nothing so special about his acting there. He usually does his romance comedies with some kinds of twist here and there. But if you look at just how many of his films are focused on romance as their main plot, it's only 2. Every other film he has done has a love interest, obviously, but his character in the rest of the films are blind to not notice that he is chasing versatility through the many risks he's taken to create some of the best modern classics like Barfi and Up Sid, Sanju, Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani, and also some terrible films like Besharam and Roy. But we should consider the fact that neither end results could have been achieved without having to walk the other path too. In simple words, if I had to compare Ranbir Kapoor to a Hollywood actor, the closest competition would be Ryan Gosling. Both Ryan Gosling and Ranbir Kapoor have starred in cheesy rom-coms like Crazy Stupid Love and Ajab Prem Ki Gazab Kahani, but have also delivered some drama classics like The Place Beyond the Pines and Rockstar. But it isn't even that both cannot shift between doing comedy roles to serious monologues. But man, do both of these not love the underdog stories.
You know, I think even if I got offered to play Iron Man, I would make him an underdog, I think.
Even though he had a rocky career start with Savariya in 2007, Ranbir managed to get on with semi-hits like Bachna Hai Hasino and Ajab Prem Ki Gazab Kahani.
Oh, sorry, Pinto uncle.
But really, the first film that I remember watching of his that really stuck by me was in 2009 in Noida when I saw Up Sid, and that right there was the role that Ranbir Kapoor was chasing all along. Yeah, he's smart enough to be the ladies' man, and yeah, he has good comic timing to be the funny man too, and yes, he's good at playing a small town man trying to come up in the corporate world. But all these roles he had done were dealing with either the issue of love or career or self-improvement. But Up Sid was the first project to combine and manage all of these subplots and themes and properly pack them into one film that is so seamless that the end result was the best role that Ranbir has done till this date. Up Sid was the creation of Ayan Mukherjee, who is also Ranbir Kapoor's best friend in reality. Many do not know this, but the film almost tells Ayan's coming of age story but through the face of Ranbir. And as a result, everything about the film just shines. The acting is flawless and natural, there's drama, there's comedy, and man, the soundtrack. After Up Sid, Ranbir started taking more underdog roles, like a suicidal guy finding another suicidal girl, and then both trying to deal with life together in the 2010 film Anjana Anjani, which back in 2010 isn't necessarily the most typical story an upcoming actor from a legendary dynasty would like to take on. And it's not really that the underdog has to win every time as well, like how in the ensemble political drama Rajniti, Ranbir's character is barely the main lead of the film, but his role's sacrifice at the end becomes the most important turning point of the film, serving as this underdog's journey to the top, out of nowhere, and then leaving his position at the last minute for the better in the longer term. Rockstar was really the highlight for me after Up Sid. This character study film about some nobody wanting to become a true musical artist, and then he goes on to achieve his dreams but still feels this emptiness he cannot describe or cope with. It's still a stellar film with an amazing soundtrack and is probably one of the most dedicated roles done recently in Bollywood. One of the best outcomes of taking major risks that defines Ranbir's choices is films like Barfi. This amazing Chaplin-like film which is both light-hearted and serious at times, but it's really how it manages to handle both of these moods is where the real magic of the film lies. Ranbir had signed up to do Barfi with director Anurag Basu, And if you watch a lot of international and classical cinema, then you can clearly see that the film is inspired from old Chaplin and Buster Keaton gags, and also has a similar plot structure to the 1993 Johnny Depp flick Benny and June. You know what? On a second thought, Johnny Depp is also very similar to Ranbir, but he's just too extreme with his role sometimes, which is good, but yeah. Anyway, Burfi, despite borrowing or inspired from international films, has its own feel, as it does not westernize itself too much, but rather plays on situations that can only happen in small Indian towns. But these moments are all way too human to not be enjoyable or sorrowful or just funny. Ayan Mukherjee's second film, Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani, still remains a classic in the eyes of many. To me, it's just the same Karan Johar trope of manic pixie dream boy, where an adventurous and life-loving guy meets a polite and good etiquette girl and changes her life within the span of a few weeks. But why this film clicked with the audiences was because it wasn't too far-fetched as other Kejho classics. Plus, Ayan Mukherjee blending his coming-of-age themes just really worked well. And this is another classic by him. But mind you that it's not like these experiments always work. After delivering 3 classics in a row, it's with the Kashyap brothers that Ranbir's career began to see this downfall, all due to these bad experiments, to say the least. Anurag Kashyap made Bombay Velvet, which was heavily inspired or copied from the 1986 classic David Lynch film Blue Velvet. Anurag's previous attempt on catching the Lynchian vibe was a failure. Remember No Smoking? Yeah, that's the film I'm on about. Bombay Velvet had a good concept, but the execution just wasn't in the right place, and that's why the film became sort of bizarre, which was good because that's what Lynch does, but it was shallow beneath that, and that's why it did not work. And the same goes for another David Lynch classic, Lost Highway, which inspired the 2015 film Roy. Abhinav Kashyap, for whatever reason, made Besharam, which has to be Ranbir's worst film till this date. It had the story, sense, and music of an 80s film, and intentionally so, but why? Ranbir just isn't made for these kinds of roles, and you can clearly see that as every second passes in this film. It's shameful that this was the first time Ranbir's parents were on screen with him, all for this debacle to happen. The film tried to present Ranbir as a cringy action star, and though he can do action, don't get me wrong, he just isn't that kind of an actor who can solely and only do action in a film. Although I'm excited to see what he does in Brahmastra and Shamshera. But what am I on about here really? Well, what I'm trying to say is that it's interesting that in this industry of Bollywood, where the same kinds of films are released every year to bank on the journal viewing audience, Ranbir Kapoor, despite belonging to the legacy of the biggest family in acting, the Kapoors, has the guts to experiment and fail again and again and again, and then deliver another classic. It's that drive to do something new and original that brings him failure, but when it brings him success, that's when it becomes an instant classic. That's why you see his films go through these highs and lows, these extreme highs and lows, where one of his films might make over 100 crores and the next one wouldn't even cross 60. It's these risks that define Ranbir. Despite his few safe plays here and there with films like Ae Dil Hai Mushkil and the risks with films like Jab Ka Jasoos, it's the case with his 2018 biopic Sanju is what I'm talking about. This is the definitive film for Ranbir Kapoor. While I would debate the film's accuracy and honesty about Sanjay Dutt's life some other day, as a film, as a medium of entertainment, it does not let you take your eyes off of it even for a second. 95% of the film is just Ranbir Kapoor, and he solely carries the film despite the greatly written side characters. This was the definitive role of Ranbir Kapoor's career, which is why it was the biggest hit of his entire filmography as well. It's pretty clear that Ranbir takes upon character studies a lot, even if the film has grander typical themes. His character still has its own highlight, as if he's on his own journey, and the rest of the film just follows that journey, just like the audience. And Ranbir comes out on the other side as either a failure or the biggest superstar. You never know what's gonna happen, but that's what it means to be an experimentalist. Thank you for watching MDR. This is my first video, so I apologize for being a little rocky here and there. If you want me to continue making more videos like these on different actors and on different personalities and different films, then you can subscribe to the channel and I would know that that's what I have to do. If you've got any other ideas, please let me know in the comments and leave a like. It helps to grow the audience. It helps to share these videos to more and more people. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.